All right, welcome back. It's now part 3 of our squat series. And today we're going to be talking about a movement called a front squat. So a lot of people haven't done this movement, but it's a great exercise because it starts to focus a little bit more on those quads as opposed to working your glutes. You're still going to get a glute workout with this, but you're going to rely a lot more on your quads as you would opposed to something like a back squat. So with this, there is a little bit of mobility involved in this. I'm going to show you ways that you can scale this if you're unable to get into the correct position. And it's essential that you're able to get into and then maintain that correct positioning throughout this movement. So the movement itself is exactly what it sounds like. Instead of that barbell being on my back side across my back, it's going to be racked across the front with the majority of that weight on my shoulders here. So what that position looks like is, again, assuming I'm working out of a rack, you see that my hands are right outside of my shoulders, and what I can do here is kind of create this little cradle for the bar. So I can roll that barbell actually back on 2 or 3 fingers here, and what that does is that allows me to keep those elbows nice and high. And the reason I want that is because the higher those elbows are, the less weight is going to be on the wrist, the more weight is going to be supported by my shoulders. So again, the last thing I want to do is keep all that weight on a bent wrist, which is going to be an easy door for that injury to show up in. So try and keep that upper arm at least parallel to the ground here. And then once I'm in my position, again, everything, all those points of performance for all the other squats is the same. So shoulder width with my feet, I start by loading those hips and then keep that chest nice and upright. And you notice that in this, that barbell is pretty close, right to that trachea there. It is an uncomfortable position. It's just one of those things that you kind of gotta get used to it. That bar is going to always be pressing there. There's really no way around that. Now, if it starts to get into a position where you feel like it's cutting off your air, then it's time to modify the movement to one of the scalable versions I'm going to show you. So if you can't get those elbows to where that upper arm is parallel to the ground, one way to do this is with a cross arm. So what that looks like is, you notice that my hands are now on top of that barbell. They're kind of crossed here to keep it in place. And then from here, I do the exact same thing. And of course, I want to work in a rack if I'm working with that cross arm position, because with any type of weight on it, it's going to be almost impossible to get that barbell up onto my shoulders. So that's option 1 for mobility issues. Option number 2 is working with what we call a goblet squat. So this can be done with a dumbbell, or I'm going to use a kettlebell in this instance. You notice that that weight is still transferred in the front. I'm simply going to hold it here, again, as I go into that full squat position. So there you have it, front squat. And if you have any type of mobility issues, you can switch your hands into that cross body position, or you can also do goblet squats as another option.